in the NBA with the Utah Jazz season over. What can we expect during the offseason? Let's go ahead and take a second to do a little retrospective review of the Utah Jazz this season. How do you think about the season? What do you think about the season?
So to start this season, the Jazz were exactly what they thought they were going to be. They were right about 500. They were talented. They put a pretty good product on the floor. At the trade deadline, obviously, we moved Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji, Simone Fontecchio, all guys that were huge contributors to this Jazz team, and they're close to 500 success in the first part of the season. After they move them away, I mean, if you're any kind of a Jazz fan, you're fully aware. It was very clear they were moving into, okay, let's try to get a draft pick this year. And the Jazz didn't look bad. I mean, we had a few games where Laurie was on. We had a few games where John Collins played really well. Jordan Clarkson's always up and down. He's our constant roller coaster of a player. And then the tail end of the season kind of got here. You saw they're sitting every one of our starters. They're not going to risk any of those guys taking an injury that's going to cost them games. You know, you just kind of see in some of the news that the Jazz are looking towards this offseason. They're looking to clearly rebuild. I'm okay with it. As a Jazz fan, it was tough to watch, but it kind of gives you a little bit of relief, right? You know you're turning it on just to watch the players rather than trying to watch and see these teams win. I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
It's basically just a rinse and repeat of last year, man.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same thing. We got up to the trade deadline. We were playing about 50-50 ball. That was not good enough for Danny Ainge and Justin Zanuck, which, by the way, recover well, Zanuck, on your kidney transplant.
Absolutely.
You know, we here at the DNA, our thoughts are with you and your family, so recover quickly. But yeah, so as far as the trade deadline and going, it's just rinse and repeat, man. Now, there's a tale of two tastes, man. You watch two teams that emulate each other pretty well, and that's the San Antonio Spurs and the Utah Jazz. One team is doing it right, the other team is not. Spoiler alert, it's not the Utah Jazz.
Right.
I've been on the camp that they should have tanked from day one last year, they should have tanked from day one this year, and they should tank again from day one next year. That's what this team should have done to put themselves in the best position for long-term competition. That's not what the Jazz have done. But we did the exact same thing last year that we did this year, which was we played decent ball, and instead of going in and trying to get some playoff experience for our young talent, yeah, we traded everything at the deadline, and we're just hoping that the ball bounces our way and we're not going to lose our pick to the Timberwolves. Like, that's what we're hoping on. We're just hoping on luck now and odds when we had the opportunity to guarantee that. I think that they're doing it wrong. I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with it at all. You know, and this isn't a guy who's specifically going in after Victor Wembanyama. I thought it would be great if we had the opportunity to get that transcendent player. My rookie of the year started off as Chet Holmgren, and I was quite obviously in the right there. But man, Wemby's got a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to win.
Yeah,
he wants to dominate. And I would not be surprised if the San Antonio Spurs are close to competing next year for a playoff spot. Simply based,
I think Chet still probably wins Rookie of the Year.
I don't think he does.
No,
not a chance.
Dude, he played so good on the number one seeded.
Yeah, I think there is part of that where your team success plays into it. But honestly, the head-to-head matchups between Victor Wembanyama and Chet Holmgren, it wasn't even close the second time, man.
Yeah, that's
Wemby
true.
dominated. And if you look at the stats on the projections, it's not even close. It's Wemby all day long.
Yeah, and his blocks are just ridiculous.
Yeah, and the guy can literally, like, he got tired of the experiment of having a 6'7" point guard, whatever his name is. They were trying to, Coach Pop was trying to run out there to give a size thing. And once they switched that and gave it back to a traditional point guard, Wemby went off, man. And it was great to watch. It was fun basketball to watch. On the other side here, we got the Utah Jazz, who have three young, talented players, where two of them spent a lot of time in the G League. Now, again, that was due to injury. They didn't, play in the summer league, and they didn't start off at camp. They were injured, so I'll give them some rest there. But, if this was the plan all along, then why didn't we push them to why did we even bother making?
Yeah, why didn't we push this plan?
This inability to pick a lane and stay with it that the Utah Jazz have right now is very, very frustrating. And that's what makes moving forward in this season and the off season even worse.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and talk about that. Let's talk about our speculation for the off season. Did you hear Danny Ainge's comments in the
star hunting comments?
Yeah, the big game hunting comments.
Yeah.
So what do you think there? What options do you have off the top of your head? Do you think they're going to go for?
My problem is I don't know any of the players that are coming up in free agency. Like, I feel like there's not that, like, this isn't a great free agent class this year.
also said in his comments there that we aren't going to have 7 players on the roster that are under the age of 23. And, if you draft 3 players this year and you keep all 3, you will have over 7 players on this roster that are under 23. So first off, let's take that. Do you think they keep them all? Do you think they trade them? What do you think they do?
I think they're looking to move them. I think they saw enough from Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George and Bryce Sensabaugh that these guys are worth investing some time and money into. These guys probably are roster locks at this point. I don't see them moving them unless the stars align and they get something crazy, right? I can see them maybe potentially keeping that first round pick if they feel like they can get a player that's right in their wheelhouse. They really need shooting, in my opinion. They do not have any just knockdown 3-point shooters. They need a really solid 3-and-D player, and they just don't have one right now.
Can they draft Caitlin Clark?
I mean, that would be fantastic, and I would take her. Absolutely.
When it comes to the draft, I don't see a whole lot of shooting in this class that's coming up. I just don't see anybody who's really jumping out at me that's really kind of that elite player. The Jazz are going to fall. Typically, they're going to fall anywhere between 8. If it goes below 10, it's Timberwolves pick. So we got to make sure that we give it that 30% chance, 23% chance it'll be around the 8. And we have about a 6% chance to get the first overall pick. We also have 20% chance that we fall. Let's talk about the veterans. Which are the veterans you plan on sticking around? Who's here and who's not?
I think this is so dependent on what actually becomes available via trade, right? We've got the core that we're going to keep around. We got Laurie. I think they're still pretty invested in Walker Kessler. I mean, I honestly still see Jordan Clarkson around one more year. I do not see the Jazz moving him, especially if they're trying to win any ball games.
Which, according to them, they plan on. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think if you're trying to win ball games, you need Jordan Clarkson. Obviously, we've got Keontae, we've got Taylor. John Collins, I think, is probably one piece they're willing to move on if they get any kind of traction on another player. I think they move the John Collins contract.
Yeah, there is one that you missed that I do think they keep on. Which is Colin Sexton. I think they keep.
I absolutely think they keep Colin Sexton.
I think they keep Colin Sexton. I don't think the Jazz have the chance to trade John Collins. His contract is too expensive. I don't think unless you pack a bunch of picks with that one, you're not moving that contract for.
But I could see him packing a bunch of picks with it.
Yeah, but then you're dumping.
They want to move it.
They're not using the picks the way they want to, though.
I also think it depends on what they're getting in return, though. To move the John Collins contract and a couple of picks is worth it if you get back Harrison Barnes.
Definitely showed out against the Golden State Warriors. I do think that with JC's comments that he made post game of the last game of the season, his kind of exit interview basically talked about all of his time with the Jazz in the past tense. I think he's going to want to trade. I think he wants out now. I think the way that the season ended up, I think he was going for it. But I would say if it wasn't for that postseason interview where he was speaking about them in the past tense, I would say he is going to probably play out the last of his season. But he's been in trade rumors like for the last 5 open windows of trades. His name's been in it. He has been moved. So I can see him either A, asking for a trade, or B, going to get traded just simply because of the value of the contract. Now, again, he's only getting paid $13 million on that contract next year instead of the 20 whatever that he's been paying last year. So it is very friendly tradable contract. So I do see him potentially not being around this year. Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, and Colin Sexton, I think, are going to be the core there of the veterans that they keep.
Yeah, and they're going to look to be renegotiating Lauri's contract pretty soon too. So they know they're going to have to pay that man. The Jazz dude, I am so glad I'm not Danny Ainge. The Jazz have so many moving pieces in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And really what they need to decide is, are we making a move to win ball games next year? Yes or no?
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? Because
the problem,
because realistically, if you're still trying to gather assets, do that.
I agree. I think the Danny Ainge has a tough road ahead because, with last season, off season, the Drew Holiday trade.
Yeah.
When the Jazz made a play for him, the Portland Trailblazers actually liked Utah's package better than what Boston offered, but he didn't want to come here.
Right.
So that's why he went to Boston. In this league of power and player empowerment, where these players are basically saying, I don't want to go there, and so they don't. I think it's going to be a tough road for Danny Ainge to get any star of relevance or any player of relevance that's going to be here.
Yeah.
So I just don't see a whole lot of trade assets where people, maybe Trae Young, maybe DeJounte Murray, they tried to make the trade this season for him.
I could see another push for Murray though.
Yeah, but why would they do that if they're, again, what is the goal? Where are they trying to go?
Exactly.
They can say to the press conference that they want to win games, that they want to improve. They're not going to tank for that Scooter kid or whatever his name is.
Scooter.
What's his name?
I like Scooter. Cooper Flag, 6'9", elite rim protector, possesses great timing, defensive instincts, and awareness.
Yeah, and going up against 7'4" Wembanyama or 7'3" Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, big enough.
But anyway, I just think that the Jazz really kind of, you know what to bet on this one. There's two teams that are doing this right, and it's definitely not the Jazz. You don't wait to the trade deadline to see if you got a decent team before you go in or not. The moves need to be happening in the offseason.
Yeah.
If your plan is to compete, if your plan is to win games, then it should be a push for the playoffs, or you shouldn't even try.
No, I mean, I totally agree. That's exactly my whole thing is like, you decide whether you want to win games before the offseason starts. Because if not, if you don't want to win games, that's fine. Jazz Nation understands. Keep the team together, get these rookies some playing time, try to find you a phenom, right? Take your draft pick, put him in the rotation, and let that boy play. But if you want to win ball games, then start moving some pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's get some players in here and let's get them on the floor together and let's let them compete. And don't make all your, like mid-season trades again. Let's try to win ball games. Let's go try to get experience. Let's get these guys the minutes that they need to be successful long-term and build a team now.
Let us know in the comments down below, folks. Let us know what you think as far as the Jazz this season. Give us what your review was of the Utah Jazz this year.
Yep.
Also, folks, we are on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. We do have about 800 and plus right now. Once we hit 1,000, we're going to give the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So if you are not subscribed yet, please make sure you do so. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway. For sure.
Yeah, make sure you guys check out the merch. Should be a line down below there. Give it a look. See if you like anything. Absolutely.
Shirts. Go this way. Shirts.
Yep.
Different options down there for sure.
And if you guys are watched on YouTube on one of our short videos, this is available as a podcast wherever you get your audio, and there should be a link to this playlist right here.
With all that said, folks, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.